Hello, KBB family. It's Randall. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. I wanted to share a story with you. I just got done coaching one of my clients, and I shared this with her, and I think it'll be some value for you guys as well. And it's talking about anger, and how it drives us, really in a kind of a quiet way, kind of drives us to do different things. I'm going to tell you the story. Okay, so back in 1995, I was working at Allstate. I was a manager there, managing a team. And I was sitting there, and I think I was preparing for a meeting. And something hit me that we have three boys. At that time, obviously, they were three little guys in 1995. And we used to get very, very large income tax checks, which was horrible for finance. I know better now, so I don't do it. But back in those days, I didn't know any better. I thought that's the way you're supposed to do it. Anyway, you used to get these huge checks. They were about $5,000 to $7,000 in 1995. So those are some pretty significant cash, right? So what I would normally do, because I'm a musician as well, I would go out and I would buy equipment for my in-home studio. And I was writing and supplies, back in those days, cassettes. Shows you how old I am. We were just getting to start to do recordable CDs, but the medium in those days was cassettes. So I will buy those and labels and all that kind of stuff, printing ink. But anyway, the thought that I had back in 1995, I was sitting at my desk, I had napkins from my lunch, and I did the quintessential napkin to pen, and I wrote down 4 stocks: Apple, Time, AOL, and Microsoft. Apple, Time Warner, it was just Time at that time, AOL, which is America Online, if those of you who remember that, one of the first online internet services, very, very big, and Microsoft. Okay, so what I was going to do was I was going to take half of my check, not all of it, half of the check, and put it on stocks for each of those companies, cutting it in a fourth of each of that, like $2,500, a fourth for each of those companies, right? But I didn't do it. Not only did I not do any of them, and this is 1995, that's going to be really key, so pay attention. I didn't do any of them. I spent the money on equipment, didn't need very much that particular year, so I spent it on bills, right? Didn't save any of it. Bills and a little bit of equipment, and bought the boys something or something. Probably went on a vacation or something like that. All right, so 1995, let me show you or prove to you or explain to you how significant that particular year was and why this was such a huge mistake. All right, so in 1995, Time, Warner, and AOL all merged, making a massive, massive company. That's 1995. 1995 also is the year that Steve Jobs came back to Apple and introduced the iPod. 1995. That's Apple. Microsoft was just about to be left in the dust. It was a pivotal year for them. They went away, their leadership team went away, and they created, because Bill Gates did not believe in the internet. Like, he was like, no, dude, we're making all this cash. We're the biggest thing in the world in software. I'm good, right? But his people were like, no, we need to get into this internet browser thing. It's going to be massive. It's going to be massive. And he finally said, all right. They went away and they came back, and 1995 was the year they introduced Internet Explorer. 95. Those are the 4 companies. Now, had I I did this calculation. This is the painful part. Had I taken the $2,500 and placed that in stock in that company this year, and I haven't calculated this, I did this presentation years ago, and I think I did the presentation in 2012. So these numbers are from 2012. That year, had I not touched any of it, not put in any additional money or anything, and I'm going to read this number to you because I have it written down, I would have made, it would have been worth, just those stocks, you ready for this? $324,456,762.92. $324 million. $324 million 300, I can't even say it, it's so huge. $324.4 million had I not touched anything. And this number, this calculation, because I went back to all the splits, mergers, growth, all of that stuff. I factored all that stuff in. It took about 5 hours to do it, but I factored all that stuff in. $324 million. Now, this is the question that I have for you and what I want to teach. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I do it? I actually know why. It was anger. It was anger. As a early 30s person, I had been on my own since I was 16. Married very young, had our first house, had our first child before I was 22 years old. Started managing before I was 23 years old. So I'm managing a team of 6 in a record store back in the days, right? But I was mad that my mind told me to do something that I didn't want to do. How many of you guys are stuck like that? That you are pushing and pulling from what you know to be right, what you hear in your mind and your heart to be right, but because of anger, you're like, well, I don't want to do that, because just selfishness with yourself and what it is that you feel that your path should be, as opposed to what you think that your path or what other people think that your path should be. And you have this tug of war going on. You guys, I missed $324 million by not paying attention to what was going on in my heart and in my mind. And you know what? The worst thing about that whole thing is I just bought those stocks this year. I still struggle with it. Hope that helps somebody. Don't be angry. Receive what you hear in your heart, receive what you hear in your mind, and go do what's best for you and your family. Because you know that idea that you have, that business that you're building, the thing that you're trying to get launched, that could be your, as my pastor says, that could be your kingdom. And we're just letting it go. 324.4 million times. Hope that helps somebody. You guys have a great day. Stop being angry.